flying over his resort there in New Jersey. You got a representative that's on the Intelligence Committee says, man, some of these are, not all of them maybe, but some of these are Chinese products there. Wouldn't surprise us at all because you had that balloon floated across America, and we don't seem to. We're not walking softly and carrying a big stick anymore.
Well, that's the deal. That's a great point. We need to walk softly and carry a big stick. So I actually don't know what's going on in New Jersey. I try to watch it with the drones. Now, to say that lots of drones are probably made in China, totally get it. To say that people are coming across our southern border who are Chinese, I get it. I actually saw it nearly 20 years ago, Jimmy. I actually saw it back then. There was a Asian Chinese girl trying to come across the border, and that was a horrific scene to see. We won't stop and talk about that, but yes, they are bringing people across the border. They are using whatever they can to destroy America. They are getting ready to destroy our grid if they can. So these are the policies as president. We're going to harden our grid, right? We're going to do certain things to make sure this doesn't happen to us, that the whole thing doesn't get shut down. I just don't see that happening even among people who are anti-Chinese, who are helping President Trump. And so we're not doing what needs to be done as we walk toward World War III. And I say walk toward, I'm not saying there's going to be one, but we walk toward these things without being prepared.
Yeah. Jim just posted up, he said, don't forget about the universities. They have the Confucius centers in universities, and they're legal. They're funded by the Chinese, communist Chinese. They're on the American university campus.
Yeah.
They're operations of the Chinese government.
And Jim is exactly right. And people just don't know what we're talking about. The Chinese government pays and gives money to universities. I think there's one up here at CSU, or was one at least, where they're actually allowed to promote their craziness on the campus as part of like giving them money so that people will walk around trying to do things with communist China, whatever it is, to promote it. So all these things continue to happen. None of them should happen. In fact, President Trump would do a great thing by saying, to get to education, no communist Chinese citizens can come study here. Zero. Remember, go look at all these universities, what they charge foreign students versus state students versus out-of-state students at state university level, and you'll see that's a giant profit center. So that's how these universities operate. They operate like, how does it help my university, not how does it help America? If they were trying to help America, we wouldn't have seen the things at Columbia University that we saw in the last year.
One more quick talking education. You see the headline, U.S. students posted dire math declines on an international test. And then right in our backyard, the Poudre School District, their enrollment is declining, and you wonder why. But let's talk about it. Our education system is broken, and you've talked about it for years. I've shared conversation for many years back on the radio show. Let's dive in here real quick.
So again, when I say again, I mean for like the 20th straight year that I've talked publicly about public schools, the test scores seem to decline. Versus international, the story, versus whatever, versus 20 years ago. So two things. One, no matter where you live, and I'm only bringing Poudre Valley to talk to the people around the country in Colorado, which is a big district, which is fairly wealthy compared to, say, Detroit. But no matter what happens, they were trying to close a school. This happens nationwide. And then the people who live near the school protest. So guess what? They're not only not going to close that school, they're not going to close any schools. And then they put something on the ballot that says, can we raise your taxes to pay for this nonsense, even though we have less kids? And the vote is almost always yes, no matter where you live, even though I don't know who these people are, live in my community. What are you talking about? Raise everybody's taxes for less kids to go to school. Even though we live in a state, unlike many states, where we have school choice among public schools and we have lots of charter schools. So take it to the next level. They lose enough in the public schools in this district, just like around the country. They lose enough kids this year to close one other school, 450 kids. This is happening everywhere, especially in places like Colorado, but it's happening. And what do? They do nothing. They've raised. So then you take it to the point where at the next level, whereas the public school test scores keep going down. So you're going to find people who come on your show, and then nice people. It might be Ben Carson, totally great guy. He'll come on and say he's trying to help charter schools and this and get public schools better, and we got to help young black kids in Baltimore. He's totally right, but he's wrong. He's missed the point. They all missed the point. that the public schools run by unions need to be closed and parents sent a check. One, we would go from an average of, in Denver, $24,000 per student to $7,000 per student easily, saving an enormous amount of tax dollars because much of the stuff is on the internet. I myself, who homeschooled 3 kids, as everybody who listens to you know, and one just graduated at 16 from CSU, I could then take over just Algebra 1 for the nation. It could be in everybody's house or everybody's school or 20 kids in my house. But I could teach 1 million kids Algebra 1 for free. That's the kind of thing the internet could do that isn't doing because of what? Public sector union control that it seems as though Donald Trump is kowtowing to.
I was going to try to show that screen. The screenshot doesn't show up very well. I'll print it up tomorrow. But the Footer School, it's happening everywhere. They're teaching fewer kids, educating fewer kids. They're getting worse and worse results every year, and yet they want to keep asking us to go to the ballot box and increase them to keep these buildings open that they can consolidate. And why should we reward you with more money? Because the test scores keep going down. And unfortunately, people in communities, it's for the children, and they vote yes, and they shouldn't vote yes.
Yeah, and not only they vote yes. If you go to Providence, Rhode Island, you'll find almost all the time, I bet you it's a 90% success rate when they actually approve every single bond issue to build another building for kids that they don't use.
Unbelievable. Steve Laffey, it's a pleasure. I'm glad we're back together, 8:30 Mountain Time, 10:30 Eastern Time on the Lakey Unleashed Daily Update. Thank you, my brother.
God bless. God bless. You're doing God's work.
Laffey there with us. Go to his website, SteveLaffey.com. He did write a great book about primary mistake when he ran for the U.S. Senate, and the establishment Republican Party really came after him. He was enemy number one. And then he also
this is good stuff.
His movie about trade. He traveled America, made a film about communist China and working class, and it's all there. Go to SteveLaffey.com, SteveLaffey.com. All right, my friends.
Anyway, that's it for today. It's just unbelievable that it keeps happening. It never stops.